Welcome to February and the Wolff Den, presented by Win Again Academy. I'm Matt Wolff, founder and CEO of Ticket Time Machine. Today we welcome Sarah Block, editor, to the show. Welcome. How's everything going?
Hi, good. Everything's been going great.
Yeah,
Lots of new stuff happening over here since last time we had a chat.
yeah, excited to talk about this because I'm not an expert on any of this, but certainly intrigued and interested in learning. So for the people who don't know who you are, just give a quick intro and then we can get into everything.
Yeah, my name's Sarah. I'm the founder of tokenpr.com. We do Web3 marketing. I'm also working with Number 3 Mag, who is launching Gen 3 magazine, which is going to be one of the first Web3 print magazines. So we'll be launching that sometime around March at a conference, yet to be announced, but we've got a lot of big names in there. And there'll be an NFT involved and a lot of utility and kind of sort of exclusive discounts and things that come along with that. So we're pretty excited about it.
Great. Well, we mentioned a few things already that some people might not know. So give us a quick definition or example of what Web3 is. And then I think most people know NFTs by now, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Web3, I think everyone has a little bit of a different definition of Web3, but to me, it is what we would kind of define as the decentralized internet. So that does include NFTs and Web3 gaming and blockchain and anything you can do with your crypto wallets online. But I think the decentralization of information and banking and all of that good thing is what we kind of define as Web3. NFTs are a huge part of it. And I know our first conversation, we talked about NFTs and, are they killing things like print and ticket and all of this kind of stuff, or is everything digital? And, I think it's quite the opposite. I think it's a value add to all of these things that we know and love, like the souvenir tickets, and the magazines. There's always been that concept that print is dead, right? Everything's on the internet, everything's Instagram. Nobody picks up a copy of Cosmo anymore. People get their tickets emailed. But I think it's quite the opposite. And what you've seen, and probably, what I've seen now with the print magazine concept, is people are dying to hold something. You can't be in social situations and be like, here, check my Instagram feed, and we're all staring at our phones, or let me open my email and I'll show you this ticket I have. It's just, it's not going to die. We want to have physical things to represent what we're doing in the real world. And I think NFTs and putting things on the blockchain for verification purposes and authenticity is just something that's a technology that we can add to our physical items. And I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, I agree. The physical memory is never going away. Money in my lifetime, print money is never going away. But look, there's better ways to do certain things, and I think as we find those ways to do it, yeah, why not? Why wouldn't you? It's not for everybody. But I mean, we do show on the phone, but I have so many pictures that I favorited, so I can get to. It takes forever to get through my favorited photos. Why is Web3 important, and why is it good?
Well, I think, the main catchphrase is the decentralization, right? We started with Satoshi. We started with trying to put a stop to the control centralized banking had. And this is experienced a lot more in third world countries where they can have their banks shut down and access to their funds just closed off, right? Like that's a huge deal. It's not something that we experience so much in the United States, but it's something we have to look out for, right? And decentralizing government and access to information and all of that is something that should be on all of our radar. And I think that's the biggest part of Web3. And then what's kind of coming out of Web3 is artists are getting an opportunity to be sort of independent and represented. And then gaming, is a huge sector of Web3. I think it's probably going to be the biggest. But what you have with gaming is the same thing. The artists, the developers, the creators of these games are able to go and kind of leave these big game corporations and get credit and be able to launch their own games in a world where we are competing against these huge conglomerates. No individual has a chance. But I think Web3 and decentralization is giving a little bit of that power back.
So decentralization, I think there's value to it, but things need to be regulated.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so that's going to be an issue. It was the issue with crypto. It's going to be an issue here. How does that happen?
I think with regulations and that hot topic, I'm kind of just a wait and see what happens. It's not like I don't want the SEC coming in and taking control of this. I don't necessarily trust them. They've been in control. There was all these articles and information coming out with FTX and how the SEC, some of the people over there were directly involved, right? It's not like they didn't know what was happening. They were right there at the table. So while I think regulations, and obviously in this world with scamming and the fraudsters that are here to take advantage of everybody, that's kind of got free reign in the crypto world. But there's also so much protection where we don't have to rely on a babysitter to protect us. It's kind of on us. But there's a huge education gap in how to protect yourself in Web3. And I think that's the problem we're seeing. I've lost money on some of these centralized exchanges, right? Because FTX, all of these online exchanges, they're still centralized. Somebody can turn off your access to money. So Coinbase, FTX, Celsius, all of those are still centralized entities, right? So if we say we're fighting centralization, but we're putting our money in centralized entities, we're still supporting the same problem. But there's so many options in Web3. There's, hard wallets, cold storage. A lot of people are recommending now we only use exchanges to onboard and offboard our fiat currency, right? And that way we don't get it locked up. We're not storing our money in these exchanges, which are essentially Web3 banks, right? Coinbase is a Web3 bank. So I think the protections are there, and I think it's a learning curve. And I think eventually we're going to figure out how to take personal responsibility of our funds rather than running to the nanny state to say, hey, someone stole our money, give it back, because the options are there to keep the funds in our control.
It still feels like the wild, wild west, though, and sort of gambling. I mean, which investing is gambling too. So let's not,
Gambling can be fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Wild west. What's gonna slow it down? I mean, FTX, sure. Crypto taking a dive. That's going to slow some people down. But others are going to say, well, this is the new. This is the new stuff that we have. We're past that.
So what's your question? What's going to slow down crypto?
No, what's going to slow down the wild, wild west until we can sort of get it regulated?
I think, I don't have the answer for that. I'm just a writer here. I mean, give me a break. No, I'm kidding. I think the concept that has plagued us for a long time, which is personal responsibility, is something that has to take hold, and that can only happen through education, right? So we have to take personal responsibility of our funds. We can't pass that on, to someone else and say, you protect our money. I mean, we can, but we take the risks that come along with that, right? And I think the lack of wanting to take the risk is what we all have to know and understand, because we can take control of our money and protect it in the crypto world, but it's on us. It's
but 99, I'm not an expert, but
yeah,
I mean, 99% of us, our money is safe in a centralized environment.
Right. Right. I've got a bank account. I've got money in a bank. I'm not off fiat currency. I can't go to Costco and, load up my cart and then pay in Bitcoin. Right. No, I don't think it's a bank killer. I think it's a lot bigger than that. I think even when we talk about money with crypto, it is a way to transact, right, globally, but it's not the only thing that we're doing here. I think Web3 encompasses everything. There's decentralized people that are trying to build the decentralized internet, right? Something where it can bypass Google, who filters what we're allowed to see, right? And those kind of things are being built, and they're using current cryptocurrencies to transact and fund nodes and enable it to happen. with bypassing regulation that might want to stop, a decentralized internet, or regulation that might want to stop us transacting with certain countries, right? And crypto kind of gives us a way to create and develop without having to work within certain rules and barriers that are up already.
But if it's currency, it's going to have some type of blessing, go ahead from, I don't know, again, regulations, the Fed, whatever, whoever is making these decisions. It kind of feels to me like maybe the marijuana industry, where if they can make money off of it, they might be more inclined to say, let's make this a thing.
And now, are you talking about like illegal transactions, or?
No, I'm talking about just like Bitcoin, as a recognized currency on, for everyone. And
right. Well, I mean, like aside, actually, you bring up an interesting industry and cannabis. I mean, we talk about, currency and transacting, but the most exciting technology coming out of blockchain really isn't currency. Like cannabis, like manufacturers or distributors or whatever are starting to put their supply chain on the blockchain for tracking, for provenance. You want to see where your organic whatever pot came from. you can follow it by having a supply chain that's attached to the blockchain, and it's immutable, right? So you can't, some dispensary down in Mexico can't be like, yeah, this is homegrown Colombian, grade A stuff. They can't do it anymore because the blockchain will track it on these supply chains. And I think that's the technology that probably should be focused on. And the currencies, the art, the NFTs, those are just the first use case that are kind of using to display how this technology works. But have you ever, like, I work in crypto, I get paid in crypto sometimes, right? And I have, there's still clients that want to play Venmo or send a check or something like that. And every country, my clients are not all in the United States. Actually, probably 15% of them are. I have clients in Singapore and Canada, and all over the place, and they cannot Venmo me funds.
Right.
They cannot, if they want to pay with cash or some kind of, government currency, the barrier is impossible. Like the clients that want to pay using their home currency, it can take weeks and back and forth and trying to figure out, like, how can you pay me? But as soon as we're just like, just send me some USDC. All right. It's instant. Everybody can transact in a couple minutes. And that's something that the US dollar hasn't been able to give us really yet globally. So globally. Not just talking the United States. And I think Web3 has made it sort of a global community, right? I transact with anybody in the world instantly, and we're all on the same page. We just have to be on the same blockchain, right?
Is it the small percentage of powerful people with money who are more to push this? Because again, the average person doesn't care. We're Venmoing, and we don't care about global transactions.
Right. I mean, but maybe we should, right? Let's say you're an Etsy seller, and you've got all these awesome things that the United States is just eating up, and you're perfectly capable of shipping, to whatever country you want to ship to. But now, how do you get paid, right? Not, you want to do Visa, you want to get 5%, you go to stores in the United States and they're like, are you going to pay with Visa? There's a 5% upcharge or something like that, right? We get all these charges and fees that go to these huge institutions, but sometimes if you're selling on Etsy, you're barely making 5%, right? You don't want to accept that Visa card. You've got to mark your prices down so much in order to compete. I think a lot of that is, and that instant transacting, and that ability to have it, what's the word I'm looking at? Sort of the transaction authenticated instantly, right? We don't have to wait, and there's, I don't know how a lot of these frauds work, but there's these companies out of Nigeria, and they'll send you a payment, on Visa, whatever, and then they'll cancel it, right? But you don't know it's canceled for 3 days. So here you are shipping products, and then all of a sudden the transaction is reversed, and like, what just happened? You have no recourse with this, company.
Well, it was interesting because there were some athletes who took payment and contract in crypto, and I remember someone telling me a story about all these young kids who had a bunch of crypto at the beginning, buying up these apartments. It was called like the crypto condos. And, for them, they didn't care. They had this crypto money that they made, and so now they have these high-end apartments, but you're getting paid, and that value could go up or it could go down for your work, and you're always almost taking that chance until you sort of cash out on it whenever you want to. So it still feels like you're a little bit gambling, even you, if you're saying I'm taking some payment in crypto, that you're pretty confident it's going to go up or not lose a whole lot of value from now. Is that the feeling?
100%. Yeah. I mean, if I get a payment in Bitcoin, you better believe I'm on CoinMarketCap, that hour trying to decide if I'm going to hold it or if I'm going to transfer it to a stable coin. Most often I'm transferring it to a stable coin just so I don't have to pay attention to the market. Right. But that's still crypto, right? It's still in my wallet. I'm still using it for other things. But yeah. I mean, we've got to cash out eventually if we're a service provider in the crypto industry. We can't just keep it on there long term. Got to pay the bills, right?
So tell us about Token PR. How did it come to be? What's it all about? How'd you get interested in any of this to begin with?
Yeah, it started as Block Editor IO. Actually, we just rebranded recently. So Token PR is brand new. Same company, different name is really all it is. But what we started doing was white papers. So every currency or project that launches in crypto and in regular business too has a white paper explaining the financials, explaining the project, explaining the goals. And the crypto world, this was back in 21 when we started, was new, and it was a bull market and everything was happening fast. And there was these projects, a lot of them just scam projects, junk, right? But they were coming out one at a time over and over again with these documents that were just horrible. So we started, as a writer, I started writing white papers for a couple of companies, right? Just freelance. And essentially that grew to more services like articles, blog posts, pitch decks, all of the writing that was needed in Web3 that was sort of being ignored at the time because not a lot of people understood it. Not everyone understood how to use MetaMask or a decentralized wallet or what they were even talking about or how to use the lingo appropriately. Or it was simply a matter of so many countries going in on this at one time and the language barrier was not working. So we started with the documents, helping companies out with that. And we've grown a little bit. We do daily news for a couple news outlets. We write for influensive.com. They have it sort of a daily crypto blog that's kind of taking off. And like I said, now we're doing the writing for Number 3 Mag, which is going to be Gen 3 magazine. And we're pretty excited about all of this. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting market industry, and I think what you guys are doing, the education part of it is huge because uneducated buyers and consumers makes any market real volatile and just sort of can disrupt it in a way. We've seen a ton of stories about that. So I think education is more because it's not going away. Some of this stuff might not go away, but be like, all right, it's fizzled out. But Web3 in general and the future of the internet is not going anywhere. So
right. It's changing every day, and a lot of stuff has fizzled out. The scam coins and the pump and dump projects, which were a lot of fun for a time. People are more weary. People don't want it. People want to invest in the technology and the stuff that's actually going to last and going to make a difference. And there's a lot of that going on. Like at Influensive, we do a lot of, breaking news stories and stories on artists, but also education. And, I'm just a writer, but every time I write an article, I'm learning something brand new, right? It's never something that I know all about this. Never, not once have I written an article and just known everything about it from the second I wrote it. There's so much going on, so many things that are being redone and rebuilt and sort of reimagined in Web3 that education is huge, because without it, it's a scary world. I know when I first started in crypto, just the idea of downloading a wallet, right? And these seed phrases and these, all this security, and, they're telling me to write this down in stone and bury it in the backyard, right? Don't lose it. And all of that it's intimidating, and now it's like nothing, wallets, this, that, right? I'm sort of empowered in a way, if we want to use the big words. And I realize, I'm in charge of protecting my cryptocurrency. But in the beginning, that was extremely intimidating. So education is important. So many people can use this, and so many are, now. I've got older family members now that have wallets, right? And these kind of people are still asking me, how to get on the internet and certain websites, but they've got wallets. It can be done, but it is daunting world to kind of just jump into.
What are the topics that people are reaching out to you that they want to hear more about right now?
It varies. Like for example, that proof of attendance article that we talked about last month, those proof of attendance protocols. That was one. Brian Evans, who's the founder of Influensive and a whole bunch of other companies, he sort of works with Animoca. He's the one who comes to me, and I'm not a public figure. I don't have a lot of people asking me what's going on, what's new, but he is, right? So he's got people in conversations, and he speaks at conferences, and he gets people all the time who are like, what are these? What is this? What's going on here? What does this mean? So like that would be one example of people trying to figure out what those were. And like you do souvenir tickets and the proof of attendance protocol, it's like, we call them POAPs. People are seeing this word, like, what the heck does it mean? We can't just summarize it in one sentence, but those kind of things are exciting, and they can be applicable to so many industries. Like a proof of attendance, we are talking events, we are talking educational seminars, parties, concerts, all of these things that can be attached to your ticket that you bought. But who knows about this? Not that many people. And it's this technology now where you attend a concert, you attend a seminar on Web3, and now you want to prove, like, hey, I attended this concert, or I attended this seminar, I'm educated, I'm whatever, and they're attached to your wallet now. And what happens is now that company or that event knows you through the NFT that you hold in your wallet, which is the POAP, and they know you attended, and they can now offer you invites to more events or more lectures, and they can give you kind of rewards or discounts or anything they want, just because your wallet, they don't have to know who you are, right? They just know that their NFT is in your wallet, and so they can now airdrop you more things or more invites or more passes, right? So all of these kind of things, like, that's just one tiny little technology protocol. There's thousands of protocols going on, being launched every day, and there's just so many things that we need to learn about and figure out that everyone can be using. And there's a lot of industries that would be excited to learn about a POAP. Like, what? I can do that? I'm holding a seminar next week. I would love to be able to do that. Not everyone has a wallet yet. It's not useful, across large audiences, but it's something that might be soon.
Not everyone has a wallet. There's no one wallet, and the only wallet I have that I know almost, or a majority of people have, is the Apple Wallet. So there's a number of different wallets. Is there going to be too many wallets? Is each wallet going to be at some point just sort of diluted and have way too much stuff in it? Almost like I was describing my camera, the folder with all my favorites on my phone with pictures. Is that an issue? Is that something that people are worried about? Can we have one wallet?
No. I mean, wallets have different features. They're all able to do different things. Everyone's got a favorite one. But the wallet is just more like a user interface, right? I can go online to Etherscan or any NFT market and see what I've got in there without even looking in my actual like wallet app, right? I just need to connect my wallet number, and I can see what's in there, all sorts of places.
But
right?
It's a lot. I mean, I might have to go to 6 places. I might have to go, like if I'm gambling, I'm probably gambling with one outfit. If I'm doing stocks, all my stocks are probably with one thing. It's interesting because I'm not an app guy. I hate apps. I do everything on my computer. But I got to imagine I'm not alone. And so all the confusion of having all these different wallets and having to do a different wallet, it's got to be a deterrent. Like the people who
Yeah,
like
no,
that, they
it's a
don't
huge
care.
deterrent. And
Yeah.
you're not alone. This conversation happens all the time. How do we, and especially this conversation happens a lot in the Web3 gaming, right? Because Web3 gaming, gaming in general is huge. There's so many kids, adults, and people are gaming every day for hours. And the hugest problem they're having is onboarding them because somebody wants to play a game. They want to click, download. They're willing to do a couple steps before they play that game. They're not willing to download a decentralized wallet, write down their seed phrase, get it all set up. If that's not done yet, they are not going to be playing that game. That's a huge barrier. There's a lot of companies that are working on making that easier. I saw one recently, and I wish I remember the name, but I can't. They're doing, there's a game that is using Epic logins in order to get you into their Web3 game. So it's as simple as logging in with your Epic Games account, and then you get to play the Web3 game. Now, eventually, that's kind of like the teaser, let me get you in. So now you're playing the game, and you might start earning rewards playing that game in whatever that game's cryptocurrency token is. And those tokens will be on the website or whatever, on your account, attached somehow to your Epic Games name, not in Epic Games, but a separate platform. And if you want to redeem those, now you need to, they'll offer a step-by-step. Here's how you get a wallet, right? And an exchange, and you can pull them off now. Until you do that, we're going to collect them here for you. But if you eventually, and the idea is eventually someone's going to be like, wow, I have $100 worth of, XYZ game token. How do I get this into my wallet and cash out? That's going to probably be the step. And especially with gaming, I think gaming is a great onboard to Web3. That step will make people sit and be like, I want that money now. Now that I have it, I'm going to figure out how to do this wallet thing. So I think we've been going backwards for a while, where it's like download a wallet, figure this all out, and then you can play around in Web3. But I think it's learning. The industry is learning.
Do we have any sense of what AI and ChatGPT is going to influence the market, or is it not?
It's already, actually, I just had a conversation yesterday with Fabian Lacey. He's a concept art designer on all sorts of movies, Star Trek, The Mandalorian, so all these movies that we know and love. And he's been working on a Web3 game, doing concept art for it recently. And he was talking about AI and how interesting it was that Web3 kind of, and NFTs gave artists the chance to be independent and recognized and noticed and have a global audience and sell their art, right? And finally make money off of their creation. And within just a couple of years, AI came in and said, not anymore. And, he was pointing out how you could use his name in like Midjourney and be like, I want this scene, alien planet in the style of Fabian Lacey. And all of his information, non-consensual, can be pulled from, internet databases, and someone can create something in his literally his hand in seconds. So AI, I think it's just one to watch. I think everyone's right. It's kind of almost getting boring how much people are like, you better jump on the AI bandwagon or you're dead, right? I don't think that's the case. I do think it's a tool that everyone's going to need to learn how to use, maybe at some point, but it definitely is taken away. I'm a writer. Now you can go to ChatGPT and say, give me an article on Ticket Time Machine and what it means for NFTs. And it's going to give me something. It's not good, right? I've tested it out. It's certainly not good yet. But there are people, that are using that to create articles, and not everyone that pays for articles cares about how great the content is, right? Not everyone even reads them, right? Someone might pay for daily blog posts and they don't even read what's being posted on their own site. They just need the words and the search engine optimization, and AI can do that, right? But we'll see what it does. There's people that are using AI to make NFTs, right? Which I don't have an opinion on it yet. I don't know. We'll see.
As a writer, it is, because I was at Podfest last week, and there was they had a session, and he put together like a children's book, just like that. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. It certainly was passable with cover art and everything. It's
Sure.
crazy, but it's someone who's behind it. I was to talk like we used to do all this stuff in the AI world, and it's just like it's someone who's it's a human who's programming it,
Right.
to do it, to teach it, to do it automatically. So it's all going to be as good as the person who's writing the program, and it'll get better. It's been around for a long time, but it's like one of those things that's popping up now. It will be interesting.
It will be. Yeah. I think the first time I heard about Midjourney was another writer who is also, an artist, and I'm not an artist and I never will be. But he was like, try it, because what you need is words, not art, and that, like, to me, that kind of struck out, like what, like words, I can do words, and I did try it, and it was amazing, like I was like, wow. I even let my kids try it, I'm like, go ahead, get on here, tell me what you want this computer thing to draw for you, and everybody was pretty in awe of it. But yeah, I think, and there's a movement too from some artists to be able to have the option to have their name removed from the database, right? So not be able to search names like Fabian Lacey, and be like, hey, this is
That would
my.
be interesting.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad idea. I tell you what, if I was an artist and spent hours and hours creating these magnificent pieces, and some computer was able to upload my info and create more, I'd be pretty mad.
Yeah, probably. You probably would be.
Yeah.
But that's counterfeit and all that.
Yeah.
It's been around forever. It's not going anywhere in person, online. A lot of that's hard to regulate, and it's not worth their time. You see people like, hey, we're going to send a cease and desist for what? We're not, but it could be.
Exactly. Like how, I don't know how it gets regulated. That's one I'll be watching and writing about, but we'll see.
The web isn't going anywhere. The web as we know it today is not going anywhere. And so a couple of questions or thoughts here. Is it okay? Not okay. Are we going to be missing out on a ton if we just wait until Web3 kind of materializes? And do you think that some of the people and the big corporations and the entities are going to soften up a bit to give more control? So because they see it's almost happening anyway, and then maybe giving up more control, more revenue share, more ownership.
I think we are already behind right now. I am working full time in this industry, and every day I feel like I'm 4 years behind. I think now is the time to figure out what a Web3 strategy, if anything. If you don't have one, and you are planning on watching and waiting, you have let the progress kind of pass you by. That's my personal take on it. But as far as what was the other question that you just asked?
About the big corporations that you talked about,
yes,
with the ownership.
I mean, big corporations already have a strategy, right? Paramount is building NFTs. Prada, all fashion things. They're all already building a strategy. There's Kathy Hackle, who works for Journey.world. She's all over LinkedIn. You've probably seen her. She gives a lot of speeches at conferences. She gets the big web corporate companies coming in who want their Web3 strategy. You might not see it yet, but they're all creating one. And Web3 does not have to just be decentralized companies. In fact, I just finished writing an article about DAOs. DAOs was kind of the hot thing 6 months ago, those decentralized autonomous organizations, where you give these groups all voting power over the trajectory of the group, right? The trajectory of the masses. And I think they're being overused, because what that does is it's like it makes you a mini government, right? It slows down how fast you can move forward. Web3, there's plenty of projects, and plenty of the majority of them should continue to be controlled by the centralized founder, right? A small group who have the vision in mind. That's not going anywhere. Anybody, some big movie studio can come in. They're not going to be decentralized. The main guy is the head of Disney. He's going to be running the show on his Web3 project. I think that's where we get confused. We're not like asking Disney to give ownership to the masses. Not at all. It's not even going to be remotely close to what it's going to be like. Most projects should stay centralized in their own corporation, for sure.
Are we like Apple? Are we going to see a Web 4 and then a Web 5 and then a iPhone? They're already ready. They already got the next model planned before we even figured out how to work this first one.
Right. Web 5 is going to be everything goes back to being printed on paper. Yeah.
We're going to be living in virtual reality world. I've asked this before on the Wolff Den. With the way technology is, are you surprised how far away we are from the Jetsons and Back to the Future? That's 30 years ago. And think about the crazy technology we have, but we're nowhere near that. And that's not going to happen in our lifetime.
Like, why don't we have flying cars yet? Yeah.
I don't know. It could be a flying car. It could be the microwave that makes the pizza pop up.
Right.
Dresses you. Who knows? We're closer to
like
robots.
We should be a lot farther along by now. Actually, now that you say it, I'm really disappointed.
No, I truly, I know it's funny, but I do believe that it's crazy that with all the technology that we're still so far away from all of that stuff, which is fine.
I don't, with all the technology and the industry and so many things I'm still an extremely low tech person, and by choice, right? I don't think people want to be plugged in all the time. And we're assuming that the metaverse and all of these, decentralized apps and everything, that we're all just plugged into our computers all day long. But people don't want that. And I don't think that's the end goal, right? To have your whole world and universe plugged in so everything can be programmed at the touch of a button.
Yeah.
I think
I was one of the last people to get an iPhone or a smartphone because of that. But I definitely use it more than I would like to. And part of it is business, right? But even non-business, we get caught up in it.
Yeah. I mean, technology is great. I work from home, right? I never leave my house, rarely, for any reason at all. I can even get groceries delivered, right? I love technology, but I use it to be freer in my life, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of the idea here of moving forward, is how can we use technology to get more personal freedoms, right?
Yeah, to do good and to do good, because if we go watch the old movies, technology in the wrong hands can lead to a lot of bad things, and we've seen it, and hopefully not on such a large scale, but we've seen it, and it's just, I don't know. Yeah, good people are going to do good, and bad people are going to do bad, and the bad people are smart, and they get smarter and smarter, and then we almost like share the blueprint for them. You ever watch like on a news thing, and they're like, "Well, this is how this person did this," and I'm like, "Well, why would you show that to anyone? Like, let them know that you can do this." You almost can kind of find it online, a way to sort of do bad.
It's almost like they want us to do it.
Yeah,
they're like, here's how you do it. Let's see if you can. Yeah.
What's your favorite thing that you've experienced with NFTs and Web3 and crypto? What's like a cool experience or something that you were like, wow, this is unbelievable?
I wouldn't say it's a specific technology, but more the community building. I am in Neo Tokyo, neotokyo.code. And, when I started this business doing white papers, I was on freelance websites. I was everywhere I could, anywhere to get work, right? I didn't know anyone in Web3. I didn't know how to be in, right? And when I joined Neo Tokyo, which you join by buying an NFT, a citizen, I was inserted into this world where everyone had the same goal, and that was sort of building Web3. And you would think, and I'm a woman in NFTs and crypto, and I what I've heard is at some point that was not an easy thing to be, but my first experience of having a community was Neo Tokyo, and in there, you're fairly anon. Nobody knows if you're a man or a woman or an android, right? And nobody cares. And that was the hugest part for me, because I was able to go in there and have people willing to help, willing to give advice, willing to do whatever. It's just such like you're a whole team right behind you, right? Of people from all over the world who have no idea what you're doing. All they know is you're building in Web3 and they're building in Web3, and they're like, let's do something awesome together. And that sense of community for me, for someone who works from home, who doesn't, I'm not a nightlife person. I don't go out and socialize. To have that group of people that was so close and connected in this weird, disconnected world was weird, but amazing, right? It built my business completely. So that experience, you would think with Web 2 and meetups and all these, social media sites and all of that, that experience could have happened before, but it didn't, right? Not even close.
I think it is available, but why does it? What does the NFT have to do with that? I know you said.
So I think it sort of frees up your ability. Like social media, everyone can see what you're talking about, right? Everyone can have an opinion. People you don't even know, like it could be somebody who's totally anti-crypto, right? And they can come in and have a discussion with you, but they've already set in stone of this is the direction I'm building. But when you have a group that you essentially have to buy into because you have the same goal and you want to sort of network with these people, everybody is there to support you, there to help you grow, and they have to pay to be there, right? So if they don't want to be there, they're going to sell and get out because those NFTs are worth a good chunk of dough. So I think it's that filtering process. When you choose your community in Web3, there is a filter. If you have a good project, right? There's a filter that filters out people that are there to slow you down. And
that NFT is worth more than you paid for
it. Is it right now? I think so, a little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
It's more of like an exclusivity. Like you can't, like the Bored Apes, like you can't get into that, so you have to buy in, and
right.
It went higher. And I know
right.
that I heard some of their get-togethers and club benefits, but there's not a ton of. This is the gripe I had back, and I don't know that a whole lot's changed. You've mentioned utility. I don't think there's a ton of NFTs that have this like utility that's so great. I think they're just being used. They're still not being used right, and it's been a while.
I agree. The utility buzzword is overused, right? Everyone just slaps that on their white paper. I know, I write them, and sometimes you look at the list of what you get, and it's like, okay, but it works, and we're still in that early stage where it doesn't matter if you've got utility in a list of things that are maybe going to happen. People are just speculating on assets, right? But that in itself is changing. Like Neo Tokyo, the utility is your access to a network, right? I've met some of the biggest people in Web3, Animoca, Paramount Studios, these names that I'm never going to come across just kind of scrolling around. I've bought my way into these networks because I believed in them, and it's paid off, right?
But why? What does the NFT? This is what I'm trying. What I don't understand, and it could just be that I don't understand it. Like, why does it have to be an NFT? Why can't I send you a banana thing and you register online the same way you do you secure your grill. That's escaping my mind.
Well, I think the topic would have to come down to, and I'm no tech expert, but counterfeiting, right? So with like token gated access to communities, I can now you have to already be onboarded into Web3 for this to make sense, right? But I can go to my community that I want access to, that I own the NFT for, and I connect my wallet, and it verifies who I am and the validity of that NFT right there. Right. And I've given access. Now, if you tell me I have to have, a sticker with my access code, and then I go in and register and log in, and then, who's not to say like someone stole the access code, or someone's got a computer that can give me all these access codes, or somebody, in China is making, knockoff versions of your access code. I mean, all this stuff can happen. It can happen anywhere, right? And I'm sure there's security measures to make that not happen. But when you're building in Web3 and you're kind of sold on blockchain technology and what it does, that's what you're going to use, right?
But they can't steal your phone or hack into your thing and get.
Oh, sure. Somebody could steal my my information and try and hack in, and that's happening. That's a problem, right? And that's why a lot of these you hear the cold storage, right? People use ledgers and Trezors, and those, what those are. Cold storage takes your NFTs and your crypto, and it's still a wallet, but it's like a little USB almost. It looks like that, and you put your information offline, right? And it's in your ledger, and in order to use it, you've got to connect back in on chain in order to get those things off or spend it or whatever. But when that thing is unplugged and stored in my little fire safe or whatever it is, nobody can hack into that unless I give them my seed phrase, which is my responsibility to protect. Right. So, yeah, there's security involved there. But, when we talk about security too, and like things like tickets, right? If we go back to that, counterfeiting is one of those. I mean, I think I saw the numbers. I did an article on this a while. It was $1 trillion industry, right? It supports human trafficking, drug cartels. Counterfeiting is like a problem that we have all these government.
Money?
Huh?
Counterfeiting money?
Counterfeiting anything,
yeah.
Products, prescription drugs, clothes, fashion, and sure, money can be thrown in there. Any kind of counterfeit products. We have entire government agencies that are devoted to stopping counterfeit products, because the people that make counterfeit products are using that money for illegal activities, right? And I know like blockchain and crypto and like the Silk Road, it gets a bad rap, right? Like, oh, everyone in Bitcoin is laundering money, for some reason or another. They don't want to pay taxes. They don't want to do this. I don't know where that comes from. I pay taxes, right? I report all my stuff. Anybody can not report stuff, right?
Yeah, but anyone can get into that. There's no barrier to entry to crypto and Web3.
Right. Anyone can get into it. Yeah.
Well, why aren't they going to get into it?
Who? Criminals?
Bad people.
They are in it.
I mean, they already are, but I'm saying on like a grander scale.
There's, as far as transactions going, I'm sure they're in it, and I'm sure they're doing illegal activities, but I can't imagine in any world where it's any more common than it has been before, especially with cash. Cash, dollar bills, are the most private way of transacting. I don't see any reason for illegal activities to go beyond cash, because when you go to the blockchain, there are ways to make your transactions private, right? And they have all these privacy mixers and stuff that make it hard. But blockchain is open. If I give you my wallet, you can go on my wallet address, which, like, let's say you're paying me to be here and you're going to pay me 100 USDC. I give you my wallet. You send 100 USDC. You can now plug in my wallet to Etherscan and see every transaction I've made since I've opened that wallet. Blockchain is not private. That's sort of a misnomer. It is so ridiculously transparent. They're trying to figure out ways how to give people even just the privacy of a regular bank account, right? You can't send money to my bank account and go see, what Arco I went to, or what grocery store I shop at. That's not going to happen.
I have friends who are, it's interesting. I don't know if I told you about it. I play poker with these guys, and they're very well versed on NFTs and crypto, and they own a bunch of Zed horses, but none of them think positively about all this stuff. They just kind of hold it and made some money, and they're not bullish, right? Bullish? They're not bullish on it. And but it's interesting. They can read contracts and tell you, hey, these guys messed up on this contract,
right?
And so they report to some companies to say, hey, this is what's going on. They're pretty good on the pulse of it. I don't have a clue about anything, but it goes to your comment about transparency and be able to go there. I own probably two handfuls of NFTs. I didn't pay for any of them. Some of them, I call them NFTs. I don't even know what the heck they are. They don't have a lot of value. Maybe some of them do have some. Who knows? I'm not doing anything with them. I haven't got into it, but I'm not a big stock trader. So there's plenty of people making a lot of money and a lot of things that people just sit on the sideline, gambling, NFTs, stock. it's probably one of those things I'll continue to sit on the sideline until something really jumps at me in the utility world. Like, oh my God, that would be really cool to have access to this and have part of it instead of
Yeah.
paying 10 grand for access to a conference that I could probably pay 10 grand to get into.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of places it's being used that doesn't necessarily make sense yet. Right. And I think it comes down to the earliness of where we're at. Right. People are just
But
trying
are we
something.
that early? I mean, it's been around NFTs and
Yeah. I mean, I think we're early when there's still, weird pictures of dog faces being sold,
that's
or
because they're out there. They got to be sold somehow.
yeah,
People take a chance it's going to go up at some point.
I think people are just experimenting, but the
Yeah.
technology that's coming is going to make some of the stuff we're doing right now look silly.
Yeah.
Right. And it is. Some of it is silly. We're literally just like playing with a new app, like let's see what I can
NFT his fart or something. Did you didn't read about that?
say it again. What?
The NFT to fart.
No, I have not. No.
I'll send it. You gotta Google it.
Yeah, some of these things, these projects are so embarrassing. I'm clicking off like my eyes.
But they made a ton of money.
Yes.
Oh, Bitcoin at its peak was at like 64. We're at in like the low 20s now. When it was at 64, there was a lot of talk it was going to go to 100.
Right.
Were you in that camp?
Did I think it was going to go to 100? I mean, I definitely thought it was possible. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people thought it was possible.
Where do you think it's going to go now? We're at about 22, 23. Does it go up to 50? Does it get to 50? How low do you think it could go? I mean, do you have a range or where you think this thing could end up? A year, 5 years?
I am not the trading analyst. I leave that to the experts. I am the one that goes into those conversations and watches what they're talking about. Yeah. But I am not a good trader. I'm here for the technology. I'm actually not good at reading these charts and figuring out what's going where. It's just not my forte. That's not kind of why I'm here. But I mean, I think it's possible. Bitcoin has a huge fan base. It's the original. There's a lot of people that are just storing it. Is it the best currency for transacting? No, it's slower than a lot of them. But is one currency going to win out over all the others? I don't know. I don't even think that's the point. I think the point is the technology that can kind of revolutionize a lot of what we're doing.
I feel like they all have to be worth the same in order to go global and wide scale, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
No, I disagree there. I don't think any of these have to be the same. They're all different currencies. You think of like the yen, or different dollars. They all have different values depending on who wants them. It's still supply.
They're all equivalent to something.
They're what?
They're all equal to something. This is equal to that. This much of this is equal to that much of this is equal to that much of that.
Right.
It has the same value, and then it's like, why? I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how it moves forward because I don't know. To me, it's crazy. Like 20 people are still, you buy something, right, and it's worth. You're talking about fractions of it now. People take a shot at it. It's investing, right? It's don't invest in stuff that you can't afford to lose. Everyone will say that. What percent of people out there are actually experts and educated? There's so many people talking about it. My feeling is the people who are pushing it the hardest are the ones who are most heavily invested in it. And there's so many so-called experts out there. I truly don't even know who is because we're still learning and it is new in a sense. Are there a ton of experts out there or more people just kind of
I mean,
influencers or self-labeled?
I mean, there are a lot of experts out there and there are a lot of good ones. I follow them and try and keep up. It's not my expertise, but I feel like they know what they're talking about. Do they? No. And a lot of the times they'll be the first ones to be like, I don't know what I'm talking about, but this is what I think is going to happen. Where nobody can predict the future, right? And nobody knowing that the Celsius and FTX and all these things, there's a lot of people that were like, get off centralized exchanges a long time ago. So yeah, there was some people that knew like this, they could see what the trajectory was. But do we know? Do we know what's going to hit the market? Do we know what's going to happen in the real world and the next Ukrainian disaster or whatever that's going to affect cryptocurrency? We don't. I think that's why I tend to think or tell people to focus on a technology that you could invest in. Think of these, they are currencies, but there's also technologies that you can invest in using their currency because you think the technology is good, right? The same as people who would invest in Apple and Amazon and all these things. Find a project that's doing something amazing and invest in that. And usually there's a currency attached to it or a token or something, or maybe just an NFT, but invest in the project, the people behind the project. This is still people that we are investing in, right? You have to find a team that has delivered before, they've got a track record, they've got a history, they've got a hustle that you want to put your money behind. It's still people that we're investing in, even though we have all these random currencies.
Yeah, I agree with that. Gen 3 magazine coming soon. It's down at the bottom. If you want to take a look, give us a quick preview of what that is.
Gen 3. So Mark Bernard is the founder. It used to be called, or it still is, Number 3 magazine. Gen 3 is sort of a secondary magazine. It's got a Web3 focus. They're going to be at conferences, Web3-based conferences all around the world. Basically, I know they've been looking at Colombia, Singapore. It's going to be everywhere. They will have an NFT attached to the cover, very limited prints. So people will need to have the NFT, or there's going to be different ways to get it, but it's not going to be like 100,000 copies. It'll be about 5,000 copies. So this is not going to be something that everyone's going to have, but it is a very high-end print magazine. It's going to have a focus on Web3, on influencers in the space, the technology, the fashion, destinations, everything that's going on in this industry. We're kind of giving it its own magazine. So there'll be 4 quarterly issues. There's a lot of interest, and as someone who works in print and papers with tickets, there's always that question of, are people interested? Do they just want their magazines on their phone, right? And the interest has been overwhelming. There has not been a single entity or corporation who has not said yes, right? So print is certainly not dead, and we're really excited to get these out at the conferences and some of these big events. And there's going to be a lot of VIP events that are going to come along with having the NFT and the magazine, because they actually have this chip technology. I don't know if I told you. No, we didn't talk about this last time, huh? So Agamico has this NFC chip. I'm not one to talk about technology, but it's some kind of chip.
It's tap technology. We're actually incorporating that in our stuff. It's very
it's awesome. It's amazing. So like you can, your magazine can be used as a scan with this chip for verify that it's real. And it can also be used, you can actually take the magazine to get into events and get into certain VIP lounges and get into certain places that only holders of the magazine or the NFT can have access to. So again, we have sort of it linked to an NFT. So it's verified on chain, but maybe you just have the magazine, right? And you just have this print. We're still incorporating that blockchain technology with print and physical items. So I'm pretty excited about it.
There's some cool technology with NFC and RFID and tap.
It's amazing. I don't even understand it. Yeah.
Aside from tokenpr.com, if you get Gen 3 magazine and we read your newsletters, what's some good resources for someone who wants to start to learn, who knows nothing and who knows a little bit but wants to enhance their education of it?
Yeah, reading the articles, reading the news. Influensive.com has a lot of kind of entry-level content. Some of it's advanced, but there's a lot of entry-level content on education and just getting those little tidbits of like what's going on, what's new, what are people talking about, and they're written in a way that is not you don't need to be a Web3 genius to understand, right? I'm not a technologist, right? I'm not here developing smart contracts, so I'm certainly not going to talk as if I am, because I think digestible content is what's really hard. There's a lot of education sites coming out. There's so many ways to learn, right? YouTube is an amazing resource. The educational content on YouTube is fabulous. You know, find someone you trust, find a founder that's well trusted in blockchain, and follow them. I mean, a lot of them put out amazing free content.
Yeah, agree with that. If you could snap your fingers and acquire any NFT in the world, what would you want? No cost to you. It's free. You can just take it from someone's going to give you.
Right. Well, I already have my Neo Tokyo, so I think it would be probably a CryptoPunk or a Bored Ape. I'm not sure.
Which one?
Which one?
I got if you had to pick a CryptoPunk or a Bored Ape.
I'll pick an ape.
An ape?
Yep.
Cool. Give me a one wild Web3 prediction. You know, a year, 2 years, 5 years.
I don't know if it's a prediction or a hope, but I do think Web3 gaming is going to become bigger than the Epic games that we see now. I do think that's a possibility, or I hope. I'm not sure. I'm
it's
mixing the two.
Hope, possibility. That's you might be helping it happen. We're going to let you out of the Wolff Den with the same question everybody gets. You can spend a day with anyone in the world, 24 hours. They have to be alive, and you can't be related to them. Who would you choose, and what would you guys do?
Oh, so many. I think I would choose Kathy Hackle, who is I think she's called the godmother of the metaverse. She's just an innovative genius, and what she's churned out has been amazing. I'd love to just follow her around the office for a day, see what she does. Yeah.
It's a first, but it's you never know. I think we could maybe run into her at a conference or something like that. Check out tokenpr.com. Sarah with some great writing and information. Gentry Magazine coming soon. Great to chat with you. I think people will learn a lot, and we're still learning. Me, who doesn't know a lot, you who does know a lot, still learning, which is great. The future is wild, but we're going to be here covering it, right? So appreciate your time. We're off to Arizona for the Super Bowl week next week, so no Wolff Den. Catch us in a couple of weeks, but enjoy. Check out Web3, play around with it. Check out ChatGPT, play around with it. Write a book, draw some pictures. I don't know. Do something good, have fun, and we'll talk to everybody soon.
Bye. Thank you, Matt. Bye.